Hi, welcome to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box just below this video. How are you today? This is a Yarn and Yarns extra. I think I'm just going to bring you along on my beach walk today. I'm going to do a little bit of beach combing for a couple of different things, and I'm hoping to cast on a new knit project. So I'm on the lookout for some pieces of driftwood today. If you've been following along with the channel for a while, you'll know a little while ago I started weaving, but I walked up my loom a little while ago and I've come to a halt because I'm not really enjoying the weaving project. But I have an idea of how to rescue that warp and do something different, and so I'm on the lookout for some little bits of driftwood that I could maybe use in some sort of tapestry weaving wall hangings. That's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? So I'm on the lookout for those while I am beach combing, and also on the way back home I shall be doing my 2-minute beach clean. So a little while ago the lovely Mairead told me about an account over on Instagram called 2-minute beach clean, and basically the idea is if you're wandering along your local coastline to pick up some rubbish. So I shall be doing both of those, and I'll try and get some nice calming beach footage along the way. It's quite windy today, so I'm not sure how much of the chatty stuff I'll do, or how bad that's going to be when I come to edit the footage. So I might have to sort of do a bit of a music over some of the beachy footage. But yeah, let's just see what happens. As you can see, the beach is pretty much empty, so I'm okay to be out and about and enjoying my time out of the house this morning. I've been doing a bit of beach combing as I have come down. I'm looking for some interesting bits of driftwood, and because we have a pebbly beach with quite a big tidal range, you can often find bits of driftwood down here on the beach. I found an amazing piece that I absolutely love, but I'm not sure how James will feel if I go home with this because it's quite big. I don't know if you can see this. Let me hold it. It's absolutely beautiful. It's quite large, as you can see. I'm resting that on my knee and it's coming right up to my head, but it has this really sort of knobbly end, and work with me here, but it also has all of these sort of like knobbles and spikes. Wouldn't this make an awesome jewellery stand? If I could like chop off the end so that end was sort of flat and attach it to another piece of wood, and I could just totally see my necklaces and some earrings and stuff hanging off of these nodules. Wouldn't that be gorgeous? Just me? Do you do that? Do you find kind of random things around where you live and imagine them into beautiful objects, objet d'art, as they say? Shall I take this home? I might just stick it in my bag. Worst case scenario, it would probably look nice as a little bit of a garden ornament. What do you think? Have I completely lost it in lockdown? I've brought down to the beach with me this gorgeous notions pouch with oyster catches, which was made by Emma of Eldenwood Craft, and it seems pretty appropriate for the beach, doesn't it? But inside this I'm actually using it as a little project bag at the moment, as well as my notions. I've got all of those little natural hand spun mini skeins that I showed on the vlog yesterday. I'm going to wind those up into balls because the lovely Sal said instead of using them for a gnome beard, why don't you make like an earth tones gnome? And I thought that was a great idea, so I think I might cast that on today. I don't think there will be enough for a whole gnome from those little scraps, but I've also found this ball of natural that that I hand spun a little while ago. So I'm going to pair those together, and maybe along with some of the silk waste tweedy yarn that I'm spinning up at the moment. So I'm thinking maybe to do a stripy hat with these natural colours and then use the silk waste yarn for the body. We'll see. If the jewellery stand idea doesn't work out, maybe I could turn this into some sort of yarn holder. One of these spikes is stopping my yarn and go flying down the beach right now. Maybe I could just stick some balls of yarn on it and make it a sculptural piece of yarny, woody thing. Art installation for the home. Yarn and wood. I love how the natural tones look sat on the pebbles of the beach. It's almost like they're in camouflage. But I've been here for a little while now. I've knit a wee bit on my hat. I'm trying out a different gnome pattern. I own them all and I've knit most of them, but there are two that I haven't done yet. Gnome with the cabled design. I can't remember the names of the patterns. And there's also the one that I'm attempting this time is the gnome, pun intended, like a really crinkly wiggly hat. So that's the version that I'm working on for a change today. And I could sit here all day. I found quite a nice comfy rock to sit on. I know that doesn't sound comfy, but it is. And the sun's shining, I'm nice and warm in my hat. The wind's not really bothering me, but I should probably head back. So on the way back I shall be doing my litter pick, and I'll see what I can find rubbish wise to remove off the beach and stop from going back into our lovely oceans. Clean item number one. I wonder how much I will have filled my bag up by the time I get back to the promenade. Here's the best for me, look, I found a sword on the beach. Oh dear. I definitely find a lot of this nasty polystyrene stuff everywhere on the beach, which is a shame. Not sure if the camera will pick up the subtleties in the colour, but I love this bit of the beach. There's this gorgeous redstone, and then when the tide's out you get that sort of mossy algae green strip. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So this is it, the results of my 2-minute beach cleaning today. Plenty of polystyrene. The reason that seaweed is there is because there's plastic fishing wire curled up in that, so I'm going to put that in the bin. Just general pieces of plastic crap really. I'm back home in the comfort of my own garden. It's a bit less windy here, a bit more sheltered, and I figured I couldn't finish the video without showing you my spoils from the beach. I was collecting little bits of wood as I went along and putting them in my bag, and I've actually come home with a bit more than I thought I had. But that's okay, it's not tons, and hopefully I will find uses for all of the things that I brought home at some point. Yes, I did bring this home. I showed James, he just gave me a look. It's just so beautiful, I couldn't leave it behind, I really couldn't. So yes, spoil from the beach number one. I'm going to leave these out here to dry off for a couple of days. I can feel they're reasonably damp to the touch, but we're not expecting any rain, I don't think, for the next few days. So I'm just going to lie them out in my garden and let them dry out for a couple of days. So the sorts of things that I was actually looking for on the beach were more like little bits and pieces, like these. Some of them are slightly bigger than others, but hopefully you can kind of see where I'm going here. It would be nice to have a wall hanging, like a woven piece or a knitted piece hanging from these little bits of driftwood. So these were the kind of things I was hoping to bring back with me. And then I also came home with a couple of sort of miscellaneous things. And this one is the right sort of size to use as the sort of stabiliser for a hanging, I think, but it's quite curved and curvy, so in reality if you had that like against a wall, it probably wouldn't sit flat. But I just really loved all of the shapes and the curves, and there's some beautiful knot detail in this piece as well, so I figured it was a small piece so it could come home with me, and I'll maybe be able to figure out something for that. And then this piece I absolutely loved, all of the shapes and the curves to it. And I have this notion, this is where I go a bit cuckoo again, but there's like a little sort of naturally carved out dip in there. This would sort of make a gorgeous, almost like landscape. I could see like a little felted house or a wooden house with maybe a felted tree or something up here, so it's almost like a house nestling next to a wooded hill. What do you think? Can you see that? You can laugh at me, I don't mind. I'm laughing at myself. But yeah, these are the strange things that go through my head. And then this looks to be like a piece of bark. It's got this gorgeous textured side, and then it's completely smooth and flat on the top. So again, I think this would make a perfect base for some sort of sculpture or something on top. And then the last piece I picked up is still really wet, and usually I leave the completely soggy things on the beach because you never know how they will dry out, whether they're completely rotten and all just fall apart. But I couldn't resist the shape of this. It's this sort of gorgeous, almost like a teardrop shaped piece of wood. And I think it's been used on a bonfire at some point, because there are these bits that are sort of charcoaled. I mean, the colours at the moment are absolutely gorgeous, but I imagine that some of this sort of orangey brown will probably disappear once the wood is completely dried out. Yeah, that's my driftwood collection for today. If those pieces have like sparked any random ideas, maybe it's just me, but if they have, let me know. What can you see those pieces of driftwood becoming? Anything? Or is it just me? I also picked up a couple of rocks from the beach as well. I tend not to bring rocks and things home because obviously we've got to be mindful of coastal erosion and things like that, but I couldn't resist these small pieces, and they're both really sparkly. My geology is rubbish, and I wish I knew a little bit more about like minerals and compositions and things, but there's this white stone which is just so sparkly, probably not going to show on the camera. And then there is this one as well, and I love underneath there's these sort of like streaks of rusty orange, and that's what caught my attention. And then when I turned it over, there's loads of sort of sparkly texture underneath that. So those had to come home with me too. Now come out into the garden. James has got a busy work afternoon. He's busy in meetings. So he's Skyping and Zooming a lot at the moment. So I thought I'd come outside and keep out of the way. I've brought some things to do with me. I've got my gnome to carry on with in my Gorgeous Notions pouch. I've got a little bit of this fibre left to spin up on my Turkish spindle. I don't know if it's because I've been spending a lot of time down on the beach this morning, but this totally reminds me, this colour is just perfect mermaid's hair. Definitely the beach is going to my head. And then I've also brought some reading material out with me. I used to be an avid reader, not so much anymore, but I'm trying to get back into it. And a little while ago at one of my local charity shops, I found this huge volume which has got several volumes of the Saga graphic novel story. This is such a beautifully illustrated series. I know that there's a perception that graphic novels and comic books are for kids, but this is very adult. You can see on the front here there's a baby breastfeeding. That kind of gives you a bit of a feel for some of the panels. There's sex, violence, and it's all set in a sort of futuristic interplanetary world. The story is by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. It's been around for a while, and I was really happy to find this is the first book. So at some point I hope to collect the rest, but they're not cheap. But I am on chapter 6 at the moment, and obviously this is a slightly quicker read in terms of reading the words, but you spend a lot of time on each page looking at the amazing illustrations. So yeah, that's what's taking up my reading time at the moment. So I think I will probably take a little video shot of all my beach findings to pop in the end here, but I'll wrap up the video for today. As always, feel free to chat to me below. I really appreciate all of the interactions that we have here on the channel. I appreciate them always, but particularly right now when there's very little person-to-person interaction going on in most people's lives right now. Let me know what you're working on, whether you've found any objects that you are turning into artwork in your local neighbourhood, or whether you've ever done that. I'd love, if you're on Instagram and you've turned found objects into pieces of art, then I'd love for you to tag me in the pictures over there, or just send me a message over there or on Ravelry with the pictures of the stuff that you've made, because I find that sort of stuff endlessly fascinating, and I don't really do enough of that myself. So yeah, on that note, I think I shall say goodbye to you all, and I hope that until we get to spend time together again, you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now.